Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about my November TBR. Now I realize it's already November, it's technically November 1st while I'm filming this, and I realize I still have my Halloween lights up. Yes, I do. But it's the day after Halloween. I haven't gotten around to taking everything down yet because part of me doesn't want to because I love spooky season. I have way too many books on my November TBR. I'm not going to get to them all. I will get to as many as I possibly can, but I have so many books that are spooky books that I wanted to read in this season that have bled into November, and just so many amazing new books coming out, and there's just so much good stuff. I want to get to it all, and I know I can't, but I'm going to try to read as much as I can. So I have a lot of books here, so let's go ahead and jump in. Also, just FYI, some of these books, I don't have a very clear idea of what the synopsis is, so I will try to be as clear and concise as I can about what some of these books are, but to be honest, there's a few of them I'm not really sure. I even tried to read through the synopsi before I started this video, and some of them I read and I still didn't fully understand what they're about. So we'll see how this goes. So the first book is actually one I've already started on. I had it on my October TBR and I didn't get to start it until October 31st, and there was no way I was going to read the whole thing in one day, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. If you haven't heard of this book, then where have you been? I feel like literally everybody is reading it right now. It just came out at the very beginning of October. It is a huge release. Honestly, it's my most anticipated release for the year 2020, and I'm so pumped about this. I think the reason it's so exciting is, one, not only is it V.E. Schwab and she's a really popular author, but also the fact that this is sort of her like love heart project. This is the project she's been working on for like 10 years, and it's a big deal for her, and it's a big story she's been working on for a very long time. And it sounds very different than what she normally writes, so I'm really excited about it. If you happen to not know what this book is about, we are following this woman named Addie LaRue. And one day she ends up making a deal with a devil, saying that she wants more time. She wants more time to live her life. The devil ends up granting her wish, but not in the way that she fully anticipates or wants. She is able to live forever, but nobody will remember her. So if you were to meet Addie, as soon as she walks away, you will completely forget her existence. So she literally lives pretty much an invisible life. Nobody remembers her at all. Every time she meets someone, it's always for the first time, even if she's met them a whole bunch of times, until one day she goes into this small bookstore and meets a man that actually remembers who she is. I think it's supposed to be a bit of a romance, a bit of a kind of like fantasy, maybe even paranormal feel. I know it's supposed to be a slower paced book, so I'm fully aware of that and going into it knowing that it's going to be a little bit slower, not as fast paced. But so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm only about 50 pages in, so I can't really say much so far, but I do like the writing style. I do enjoy V.E. Schwab, and I'm excited to see where this story goes. I've heard some people absolutely wrecked them at the end, so we'll see what happens. But I definitely will be finishing this one in November because it's the one I'm working on right now. The next one is the third book in a trilogy. It is Tomb of Ancients by Madeleine Roux. This is the third and final book in the House of Furies series. I've been working on this for the past few months. I read the first one in September. House of Furies is all about this sort of creepy manor where a lot of creepy paranormal stuff happens. It's haunted. There's a few people there that live there that have these sort of magical abilities, and it's this really creepy house where people who have done terrible things are compelled to go to this house and stay there. It's basically a boarding house, but the people that come stay there, they don't always come back out alive. Usually they never do. They're not supposed to. They get there for their comeuppance. So it's really creepy and spooky. I adored the first book. I didn't really like the second one, and it went a different direction than I would have liked. So I'm really hoping the third one makes up for it and it ends up having more of the vibes from the first book. But I'm excited to finish this trilogy and see where it goes. After that, this is a series or a duology I've been wanting to read for such a long time, and I've had it on my shelf forever and still haven't gotten to it. And I feel like it's the right time to get to it. And that is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Sorry, I always never know whether to say Victoria Schwab or V.E. Schwab. She changes it depending on what she's publishing. But this story, I don't know that much about, other than the fact it's about a world where we have humans and monsters, sorry, almost said villains, humans and monsters living kind of side by side, but they don't get along. And in this story, we are following a girl who is supposed to be, I think, a monster hunter, or she's someone that's very much against monsters. And then we follow this boy who is a monster that very much wants to be a human, but he has the ability that when he plays music, he's able to control people, hence the violin on the cover. That's really all I know about it, and I think they kind of become unlikely friends. Again, this is a duology, so it's a nice kind of short, quick series to jump into, but I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I also am a violinist, so the fact that there's a violin on the front of this, I'm like, yes, I'm already for it. And it's Victoria Schwab, so let's do it. So I'm very excited about that one. After that, I'm jumping into a middle grade called The Bone Garden by Heather Kassner. This is one where I read the synopsis to try to refresh my memory about what this is about, and the synopsis didn't really help me much. All I know is it's about this girl, which I assume is this girl here, and she apparently is made out of bone dust. She's not really a real person, and I think she has to live in the cemetery she's buried in. I don't know. And then she goes against the person that created her, and she's made partly out of imagination, and I don't know. All I know is that it takes place in a cemetery, and it's supposed to have the Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman vibes, which I love that book. So I'm like, let's try it out. And I love this cover because middle grade covers are always amazing. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun and going to have some fun, spooky vibes. I mean, because it's set in a cemetery. How can you go wrong? This next one is my kind of story because it is a ghost story, and that is Remember Me by Chelsea Bobulski. I'm probably butchering that last name. I apologize. This story, we are following this girl who moves into this old hotel. I guess maybe that's being either used as a apartment building now, or it's still a hotel. I don't know. This hotel's been around for a very, very long time. And when she moves in, some really spooky, creepy things start happening. She starts seeing ghosts, and then she becomes friends with another boy that's living in this hotel, and they start uncovering some things that happened way back like in the early 1900s, and apparently there was a murder that happened, and they start trying to piece together basically a murder mystery long ago for these ghosts, maybe to help them become, I don't know, restful or something. I don't know. That sentence didn't make sense. I think you know what I meant. But it sounds like it's going to be spooky, which is all I want. Just a spooky ghost story in a big old hotel. That sounds amazing. So I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to jump into another spooky story because ghost stories are honestly my absolute favorite. This next one is kind of along the lines of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue in that it's everywhere right now. Everybody's reading it. Everyone is raving about it. And that is The House of the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Now this story, it is written like and looks like a middle grade. However, it is written for adults. All I know about this story is we are following this gentleman who is working for this company that runs a bunch of different orphanages for magical children, so children that have unique abilities. He is sent to go to this specific orphanage, that's the House at the Cerulean Sea, and at this orphanage apparently there's some children there that have some dangerous abilities, and they're worried about, first of all, the kids themselves. Are they truly super dangerous? Are they being taken care of well? Blah, blah, blah. And so this guy goes and stays at this orphanage for a little bit to get to know the kids and to see what's going on. And I heard it's very heartwarming. I've heard it's very fun. I heard it's got a great like middle grade vibe, which I love middle grade. So I'm very excited to read this. It has gotten rave reviews. I haven't seen a single bad review about this book so far, at least from nobody I've seen, and I'm really excited to read it. Thank you to my friend Jamie for allowing me to borrow this. I really hope I can get to it in November. If I don't, I will definitely read it before the end of the year because it sounds like a really special book, and I'm really excited to give it a try. All right, now we're going to jump into some books that I don't have my hands on right now, but I'm going to hold up some pictures for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. This next book is one I've been wanting to read for a long time, and that is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I've only read 3 books by Neil Gaiman so far, 2 of which were middle grades, The Graveyard Book and Coraline. And then I also read The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which is an adult book, and that one was really weird. It was good, but it was really weird. And I think this one's going to be really weird and quirky too. It's honestly all I know about it. All I know about this story is that there is some other city below London that has a lot of different types of strange humans and creatures, monsters, all sorts of stuff. It's basically like a hidden city under London. That's literally all I know. That's it. And I'm sure it's going to be really weird and really quirky because it's Neil Gaiman, because he He really is the Tim Burton of authors to me. I really think he is. Like, he just gives me Tim Burton vibes. So I'm excited to try this out. I haven't heard very much about it. One of my friends has read it and wasn't a huge fan of it, but I'm just interested to see what it's about, because even the description, I read it, I'm like, what is this? I don't understand. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what it's about. Let me check my list here and see the next one that I'm going to do. Ah, yes, a thriller that I've been wanting to read for a while, and that is The Whisper Man by Alex North. This story, we are following this father and son who have recently lost their wife/mom, and they moved to another town to sort of like start fresh, start new. And apparently in this small town years back, there was a serial killer nicknamed the Whisper Man, because he would lure his victims out by whispering outside their windows, I guess at night or something. This guy has since been captured and put in prison, but then not long after this man and his son arrive there, his son starts to hear whispers outside of his window, and they start wondering if maybe the Whisper Man had an accomplice or something. I don't know. It's supposed to be a creepy thriller, and it sounds like fun to me. So I'm excited to try it out, and I've been wanting to get into more and more thrillers because they're fun and fast-paced and exciting. So I'm excited to try this one out. After that, let's jump into another book that I don't fully understand the description of, but it sounds really interesting. And it's called The Wise and the Wicked by Rebecca Podos. I think that's how you pronounce it. Not 100% sure. In this story, we are following this family who, the women in the family have the ability they see a vision of their own death. They see a vision of who they will be when they die, basically how old they will be when it's going to happen. And so far, all of these predictions or visions they have come true. Until one day, I think their aunt dies, but not in the way in her vision was. And because of that, now they're starting to wonder if they're able to basically escape what they thought was inevitable, to escape their fate. So that's all I know. It sounds interesting. I've heard it's a weird one, but I'm excited about it. It sounds cool. It sounds like I might have like maybe some witchy vibes, possibly. I don't know. It just sounds really interesting to kind of like have the idea of like this fate that you feel like you can't escape. I don't know. It just sounds kind of cool. This next one I'm very excited about. It is a new release that's coming out. I think it actually came out very, very recently, just the end of October. Let's see if I can find a picture. And that is the third book in the Neverwhere series by Jessica Townsend, Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morrigan Crow. This is going to be fun. I'm excited, guys. This is going to be really, really fun. So if you haven't heard of the Nevermore series before, it is a middle grade series that has really great magical, kind of slightly feels of Harry Potter. It's not Harry Potter, but it just kind of gives you that kind of warm vibe of Harry Potter. We're following this girl named Morrigan Crow, and she was born on the unluckiest day. And because of that, in her town, she's blamed for absolutely everything that happens. If somebody stubs their toe, they blame Morrigan for it. But the thing is not only is she blamed for everything, but she's fated, I think, on her 12th birthday to die. Like, she's fated, she's gonna die on her 12th birthday, and that's it. And she knows this, her family knows this, everybody knows this. Until her birthday comes around, and this man comes named Jupiter North and whisks her away to a magical place called Nevermore, where she is going to try to get into a magical school. And if she's able to get into this magical school, she will escape her fate. And she will learn how to be, she has like magical powers, and she'll learn how to do magic and stuff like that and be with some other kids. So it's got a magical school vibe. It's fantastic, and it's great, and it's whimsical. It's so whimsical. Sorry, my puppo's right here. I'm like petting him at the same time as I'm talking to you. But it sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I have no idea what's gonna happen in the third book. Intentionally did not read the synopsis because I don't want to know. I just want to be surprised, and I'm really excited to continue on in this series. I have no idea how many of them are going to be written. I don't think this is the last one, but I'm not 100% sure. But if you haven't read it before, it definitely has great cozy vibes. So if you haven't tried it yet, it'd be great kind of book to read this time of year when it's starting to get cooler and crisper out, and you can snuggle up with a nice snuggly blanket and a warm drink. So highly recommend. All right. I'm down to the last book, folks. I have so many books here. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to get to them all. This one I'm really excited about. It's a new release that comes out, I think, November 3rd, which is, I think it does. I can't remember. It comes out in November. All I know is that. And that's the new Marissa Meyer book called Instant Karma. I absolutely love Instant Karma. I absolutely love Marissa Meyer. She's like one of my auto-buy authors. I've loved every single book that she's written. I've adored it. She's the one that wrote the Lunar Chronicles as well as the Renegade series. And she wrote Heartless, which is a standalone story about the Queen of Hearts. I really love it. I love her books. This one's a little bit different though. It is a YA book, but it is a romantic comedy, which I never read romantic comedies. It is never something I lean towards. But because of the fact it's Marissa Meyer, I'm excited about it. So this story is about this girl where one day she wakes up and she has magically been able to have the power to grant instant karma to anybody, whether good or bad. So if she goes, like, she'll go to a comedy club, and if there's like a heckler or something, she can put instant karma on that person and something like bad happens to them for them being rude or just stuff like that. And I think there's one person that her power doesn't work on, and I think they fall in love or something. I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be really cute and really fun, and I love Marissa Meyer. So it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited about it. So I've got a ridiculous amount of books I want to read. That's all of them. I'm sorry if this video seems a little haphazard and all over the place, because I feel that way in my brain, just thinking about the amount of books that I just talked about that I want to read. But yeah, have you read any of these books? Let me know down below if you have. Let me know what your November reading plans are as well. And yeah, just chat with me down below. How's it going? How are your reading plans? Do you think I'm insane for picking this many books? Because I think I am too. I'm not going to get to them all. I know I won't. Anyways, on this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and follow me on my book journey. On this side over here is a suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. You rock. And don't forget to keep reading. Bye.